Thank you. We are here this morning for an initial pretrial conference, but I've also been told today that there will be a plea. Here now on the court file is a copy of a written pretrial agreement and an advice of rights. I'll say, it looks like here that, well, initially it said a no contest plea, but I'm told now it's going to be a guilty plea. Looks like the defense is going to plead guilty to count 1, possession of the controlled substance methamphetamine, count 2, assault, resist, obstruct a police officer, count 3, which is operating with a driver license suspended, denied, or revoked, that will be dismissed. Also count 4, operating without security, also known as insurance, that will be dismissed. And the 4th habitual felony offender enhancement will also be dismissed. Plus there is an agreement as to sentencing that would be a jail cap pursuant to Killebrew, which would mean no more than a year in a county jail. Did I get it correct, Mr. Denham?
You did, Your Honor.
Mr. Hertel?
You did, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Aldrich, is that how you wish to resolve today's file?
Yes, sir.
You may remain seated, but please raise your right hand. Sir, do you swear or affirm that the information and testimony you're about to provide shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
You may lower your hand. All right, Mr. Aldrich. Looking back on February 11th of this year, 2026, were you on probation, parole, or bond at that time?
No.
Now, you are currently charged on the felony information that's contained here in the court file. And on that felony information, as I've already mentioned, there are 4 counts. And then in sentencing enhancements. Count 1 is the charge of possession of the controlled substance methamphetamine, which is a felony punishable by up to 10 years and or up to $15,000. Plus, with the 4th habitual felony offender enhancement on there, that could increase the maximum penalty from up to 10 years to up to life. However, if you plead guilty to count 1, the 4th habitual enhancement will be dismissed, and therefore you'd face the up to 10 years. Now, count 2 is a charge of assault, resist, obstruct a police officer, which is a felony punishable by up to 2 years and or up to $2,000. And with the 4th habitual felony offender enhancement, that could, within the discretion of the court, increase the potential punishment from up to 2 years to up to 15 years. However, if you plead guilty also to count 2, that enhancement will be dismissed, which will mean it's only a felony punishable by up to 2 years and or $2,000. And this, Mr. Denau, and I assume that count 2, the R&O, did not involve a place of confinement at the time?
It did not, Your Honor. Very briefly, defendant left his vehicle and ran.
The reason that question is important, Mr. Aldrich, is that there could be what's called consecutive sentencing, which means whatever sentence I gave you for the possession of meth would have to be served before you could then serve the sentence for the R&O. However, because it's not in a place of confinement, such as in the jail, that doesn't apply, and they would run concurrently at the same time.
I understand.
All right, good. All right, count 3 is a charge of driving or operating a vehicle while your license is suspended, denied, or revoked. That's a misdemeanor punishable by up to 93 days and or up to $500 in fines and costs, plus vehicle immobilization. However, that will be dismissed. And lastly, count 4 is a charge of operating a vehicle without security, also known as insurance, which is a misdemeanor punishable by no more than 1 year and not less than $200, but no more than $500 in fines and costs. That count will also be dismissed. So far, is that what you understood to be your pretrial agreement?
Yes, sir.
Now, there's another part of this pretrial agreement today, and that is regarding sentencing. And that's an agreement that you have reached with the prosecutor. I don't know if I'm going to go along with it yet. I know I've seen you sometime before, but please forgive me if I don't remember everything.
Been a while, Judge.
All right, good. Well, that's a good thing. But anyways, I don't know what I'm going to do because I don't know the full story about what everything happens. But what the agreement means is you've agreed that I would give you no more than a 1 year jail cap.
Right.
Means no prison, means 5 days of good conduct time. It could be 6 months, it could be 10 months, I don't know. The point is if for some reason when we come back and I don't follow it and I give you, say, a prison term, then you would have the right to withdraw your plea and come back to this stage. That's what a Killebrew Agreement means. Do you understand that? All right. Now we're going to talk about potential sentencing and guideline ranges in just a minute. Now, I'm going to hold up here this pretrial agreement. I know it's a little bit of a distance, but did you, looks like you signed here on page 2. Is that correct? Did you sign there?
Yes, sir.
And before you did you go over the terms of the pretrial agreement with Mr. Hartel? Was he able to answer all your questions?
Yes.
And did he go over the evidence against you, whatever that is, the police reports, things like that?
Yes, he did.
And are you satisfied that with his representation thus far?
Yes, I am.
And you believe that so far taking this plea would be in your best interest?
Yes, sir.
All right. Maybe not the greatest thing you're going to do today on a Monday morning, but it's at least probably better than the alternatives. Do you agree? All right. Now, if you enter these pleas of guilty today that I've discussed, you're not going to have a trial. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Now, one of the other documents that the attorneys have provided to me is called an advice of rights. I'm going to hold it up here. And it appears to have your signature at the bottom. Is that your signature?
Yeah. Yeah, I have my attorney sign on my behalf. He sent me an email. I went over it with him and then, yep.
All right, so did you read through these rights before you had them signed?
Yes, I did.
And did you understand those rights that are written on this piece of paper?
Yes, I did.
And even more importantly, do you understand that if you plead guilty and I accept that plea, you'll be forever waiving these rights as they apply to this particular case?
Yes, sir.
All right. Also, you'll be given up the right to come back to the court and claim that the appeal today was, I'm sorry, that the plea today was a result of some kind of promise, threat, inducement not told to me today on the record. Other than the terms of this agreement that we've gone over, have there been any other promises, threats, duress, coercion that make you plead guilty?
No.
Are you doing it therefore of your own free will?
Yes, I am.
Now, I told you a moment ago that we're going to talk about Michigan sentencing guidelines. And I know you're familiar with them before, and I don't say that to be rude, but I'm just also going to say I know it looks like Mr. Hartel's talked to you about them because on this pretrial agreement that you and I talked about, it had a guideline range of 5 to 23 months. Did Mr. Hartel go over with you about
Yes,
what's? Well, so here's what I need to make sure you understand. Sentencing guidelines are not mandatory. They are mandatory for the court to review, but what they actually provide, the minimum range, it's not mandatory, but it is something the court must use. I just want you to understand that even on this form, it says an estimated guideline range.
Right.
All right, so we don't even know. The attorneys do a really good job at trying to make a good guess. But it takes the Department of Corrections and us coming back before we actually know what those guidelines say. Do you understand?
Yes.
Also, has anyone made any promises, threats, or I'm sorry, any promises to you as to exactly what my sentence would be?
No.
All right, good. All right, but no matter what, if it's above that 12-month period of time, which you've reached an agreement with the prosecutor, if I were to give you 13 months or 12 months and 5 days, whatever, you'd have the right to withdraw your plea. You understand?
Right.
All right, good. And that doesn't mean I'm not going to go along with it, but I also don't know and I don't remember every detail. So we'll see how things go. But 12 months would be within at least that estimated guideline range. All right, Mr. Aldrich, before I take the plea, do you have any questions for me at this time?
No, sir.
All right, do you need to ask Mr. Hartel any further
No, he's
questions?
been very clear on everything with me.
All right, good. Thank you. All right, therefore, sir, as to count 1, possession of methamphetamine, how do you plead?
Guilty.
And as to count 2, assault, resist, obstruct a police officer, how do you plead?
Guilty.
Now, before I can accept those pleas, I need to have you tell me what you did that makes you guilty of those 2 offenses. Turning your attention back to February 11th of this year, 2026, out in Lake Township here in Missaukee County. What happened? I'm going to guess because I see a couple troopers' names listed on the witness list. Did you get stopped?
Yes, sir.
Were you?
Yeah, I was being pulled over.
Okay.
And, the risk, the obstruct, I got out of my vehicle and took off.
Took off.
Yeah, I didn't go very far, sir.
All right.
I actually came right back.
Well,
But yeah, I'm guilty.
it's kind of odd, in a small town, we pretty much know who everybody is, so it's pretty easy.
Right.
So let me ask you a couple of key questions here. When you pulled over the car, did officers or troopers turn on their lights?
Their lights weren't on yet, sir.
No, but you recognized that it was a police
I
car?
did recognize it was a police officer.
All right, and when you got out of the car and took off, did they say or do anything to try to get you to stop?
He wasn't that close yet, sir.
Okay, but you knew you were trying to evade him.
Definitely.
All right, and did you pass and he turn around or tell me?
Yeah, I passed and turned around.
All right, so you saw him turn around.
Yes.
All right. And, all right, and then at the time, did you have some methamphetamine in your possession or within your area of control?
Yes, I knew there was a pipe of some sort in the door of the car.
All right, so,
I knew it was there, and I got in the car and left with the car anyway, and I didn't think anything of it.
okay,
But I knew it was there.
all right, so hold on. What kind of car were you driving?
Yeah, it's a Dodge Avenger.
So all I'm trying to do is, was that in the pipe with it had some kind of residue or extra meth inside of it? Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so when you said it was in the door, was it in the driver's side door next to where you were as a driver?
Yes, it was.
Was anyone else in that vehicle?
No.
All right. So, and so did you have, in your opinion or in your mind at that time, any lawful reason to possess that amount of methamphetamine, no matter how much it was?
No, sir.
No? All right, good enough. And that was that because you had put it there sometime prior to, or?
I just received the car and I just got in the car and I opened the door and I seen it there.
Yeah,
I just
All right.
I knew it was there. It was in
Okay.
it was in my possession, in my controlled space.
okay. Probably not one of the better days or choices for you, would you agree?
That's a fact.
All right, so here's all I care about. You knowingly possessed something that had methamphetamine to some amount within it. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, good enough. Thank you. Mr. Denon, are you satisfied with the testimony provided by the defendant?
Yes, sir.
Are you aware of any other promises, threats, or inducements?
No, Your Honor.
And do you believe that I've complied with Mission Control 6.302?
I do, Your Honor.
And Mr. Hartel, how about you to all three?
All three the same, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, now there's one small thing here that I'm starting to pay much more attention to. I think it's silly that somebody would go to the appellate court and argue this, but this Killebrew Agreement says no more than a jail cap. That does not mean that I can't assess fines and costs and probation. Would you agree, Mr. Denon?
Yes, Your Honor, it did not mean to imply that.
How about you, Mr. Hartel?
I would concur. In fact, if he ended up on probation, I'm sure he'd be happy, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, Mr. Aldrich, do you understand that I could give you fines and costs and probation?
I expect that, Your Honor.
All right, what happened is recently I came across an appellate decision where somebody went back and they got the Killebrew Agreement with the jail time, but then they decided to spend lots of time and money to fight over whether or not they should be ordered to pay the $1,500 in fines and costs because it wasn't well covered in the description of the pretrial agreement. So I'm just going to make sure I cover it. So, all right, Mr. Aldrich, I don't think you would have thought that. I guarantee none of the attorneys would have thought it, but that's what happens when it's a Wednesday afternoon and I'm in the office and reading all the appellate decisions. Oh, she's giving me paperwork. I haven't even done anything. All right, so anyways, the court finds the defendant guilty of counts 1 and 2. Counts 3 and 4 and the habitual enhancement will be dismissed later on at the time of the sentencing. Mr. Aldridge, we're going to come back here in about 4, maybe 5 weeks, depends how the spring rolls out, and that's when we'll do sentencing. Between now and then, an agent from the Michigan Department of Corrections is going to prepare a pre-sentence investigation report. And I know you've seen these before. And you're going to get a packet. You're going to complete that packet, turn it back in. You also will be subject to an interview with an agent from that office, and you have the right to have your attorney, Mr. Hartel, present during that interview. And third, within that, Mr. Hartel is going to need to make sure he gets a hold of you so he can go over that report with you. He'll probably get it about 10 days to 2 weeks prior to us coming back for sentencing. Each side has the right to come back to this court and request corrections or make objections to the content, the scoring of the guidelines, and all those things. Please keep in mind, once again, that the guidelines are not mandatory, and when it makes a recommendation as to the sentence, it is strictly that, as I am the one who makes the determination. So before you leave today, you're going to go upstairs to the probation and parole office. We have all three of them here today. And they'll give you that packet and schedule you the interview. I encourage you to make sure, and even though that, when was your last time you were here?
3-4 years now.
All right. Well, they can go back and take a lot of the information from those old reports. And hopefully I didn't let something incorrect stay in there. But just because they might add some old, let's take the old report and add to it, please make sure that everything in there is up to date. Okay, I don't like passing these things forward if they're not correct. They're supposed to be correct. All right. Any objection to the continuation of bond, Mr. Donato?
No, yeah.
Mr. Hartel, anything further?
No, and I definitely don't object to the continuation of bond, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Aldrich, I don't think I've seen you in a while, so that must mean that bond's going by pretty well.
Very well.
Good. Please stay on top of it. Do they have you doing any EOP or?
Yeah,
counseling?
I am on.
Great.
Yeah, no problem.
Great. If you need anything further, go, and you must be going through Catholic Human Services. Just say, hey, I'd like to do some treatment. I'm not ordering you to do anything else, but if you have any other questions, I know Mr. Hartel's.
I've reached out already.
Great,
Any resource I can
great,
available, I'm on it.
great. Well, they've also got a program through Addiction Treatment Services up in Traverse, where they help people provide it rurally, over the internet, things like that, through an iPhone. There are a lot of opportunities. So
Yeah, so I'm at home a lot right now. Our daughter, she's on oxygen all the time, 6 treatments every 4 hours.
all right. Well, anyways, if you have any way, and there are also lots of programs online that you can do,
Right.
whether they're apps that do reminders, things like that. So I encourage you to make some good choices there. All right, thank you very much. We are adjourned.